All right. It's great to be here with Delphine Carter, Bulo Company. And I really appreciate you taking this time to, just share some light about your business and to just provide some insight about business in general. So I really appreciate you joining us today.
Of course, if I can help somebody else with what I learned, that's a good thing for everyone.
Great. So start with how did you get into business in general? Like what was the thing that got you started?
Yeah, I've always had kind of a generalist career where I've been in sales, I've been in customer success, I've been in product, I've been in project management, lots of different things. And I think from that journey, I realized that what I like to do is solve problems. And so each one of those things, I took components or elements of that piece of that career and realized that I like to solve problems by building products. And so I was at Daxco, a local tech company in Birmingham, and was a product manager for about 8 years. And I started feeling the pain as a mother of trying to balance a career and 2 young kids. I was too scared to leave the workforce because I was scared I'd never get back in. And I really loved what I did. I loved work. And finally, it just kept kind of sitting on my mind and it wouldn't let go. And I said, I need to try this. And it was to find a solution to help working mothers achieve professional success.
Okay. Well, tell me a little about your business.
So Bulo, really our vision is to help create workplaces that work for everyone. So we're national recruiting experts and we help forward-thinking companies hire and retain working mothers for shared success through flexible work. So we take companies that are willing to offer flexible jobs, either in location, hours, or culture, and we find mothers who are just great, successful professionals, but they need a little bit of flexibility in order to be around for their loved ones. We make that match, and then we also help women by giving them light guiding in development and learning for the rest of their career.
Okay. So you were working and you kind of saw a need out in the marketplace. That's what I hear you saying, right?
Yeah.
How did you take that? How did you take that? How did you go from recognizing that need and having a passion to kind of feel that to making a business out of it? Because it's kind of hard to do sometimes. So how
it is. And I didn't have the guts to go all in. So I baby stepped while I was working full time. I started doing some research to try to find out, were companies, and this was before COVID, so were companies willing to make some flexibility offerings for women so that they could potentially maybe be home at carpool so that they could be there for the afternoon, still working, but maybe working from home, or maybe work 4 days a week and then have Fridays off. So I started reaching out to my peers that I knew in the community and saying, if I could bring you some of these amazing women that are sitting in carpool right now, would you hire them? Would you take them and give them a little bit of what they need? And the businesses were like, yeah, I can't find enough great people. And I know who that woman is. She's my mom, she's my daughter. I know exactly who you're talking about. And so it started with a bunch of Excel spreadsheets. I asked women to fill out on forms on SurveyMonkey and asked the businesses to fill out their information on SurveyMonkey. And we just started matching Excel spreadsheets.
Wow.
So super lean to begin, asking favors of friends. And it just kept growing and growing and growing.
Wow. How long ago was that you got started?
I started experimenting in it, like trying to learn if it was just me that thought there was a problem or if it was everyone. In about 2018, in 2019, I quit work full-time, came to Bulo, and just went all into growing the business.
So that's interesting because that's right around the time with COVID. What kind of challenges did you face, in the pandemic?
I mean, other than the fact that businesses just completely stopped hiring for a little bit, we hustled. And so There was when COVID hit, people stopped hiring. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And there was an organization in town called Be Strong, and it was funded by the mayor's office and some private funding in downtown Birmingham. And the point was we were going to take people that were out of work and match them with volunteer opportunities and work opportunities in the community. We had the funding so that the businesses didn't have to pay for it, but we could still pay the people to work. And so we helped facilitate those matches and those connections. And that really helped us survive. So that was a pivot from what we were doing, which was helping moms find flexible jobs, but it taught us so much. And it felt so good to be a part of rebuilding the community, frankly, during the heat of COVID.
Okay. I heard you say, when you first got started, how you sent out the surveys and you talked to some business owners or some people who had the position of they were able to hire somebody, and you kind of talk to them and pick their brains. And then when you talked about COVID, you talked about the mayor's initiative or initiative that was through the city. So has community played a big role, like just knowing people and being part of various communities played a big role in the success of your business?
100%. Like if as I swear it's Birmingham. I know there's examples of it elsewhere, but we are such a supportive community. And if you just make that ask of someone, if they can't help you in some way, they'll find somebody else. And that's what I found. That's actually how I found about Mayor Woodfin's initiative. Was a good friend of mine who worked at SHIP said, hey, we can't help them with this right now, but I think it's right up your alley. Would you go learn more, and would you be interested in meeting with them? And I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, I would. And so I think it is just putting yourself out there. It may feel vulnerable saying I need help. But the more you ask, the more people give. And then it's our responsibility as the ones who received to keep giving to either the next generation of entrepreneurs or the ones that are in there today trying to fight through it and make their business succeed. But it's an amazing community. I hope you felt the same in what you do, but we've got some wonderful people in town, but you have to ask. And that's what I would encourage anybody. All you risk is a no, and that's better than just standing still and not doing anything.
Yeah, it's great. So also I heard you talking about not only helping people find those positions, but self-development. Tell me a little about what you guys do on that and how important that is.
Yeah. So and we still do it a good bit. We did 1-to-1. So Williamette would call us and she would say, look, I want to get back in. I've been out of work for 3 years. I'm not feeling confident. What should I do? What should I focus on? And we'd have 1-to-1 conversations. Well, that's tough to scale. And so we actually just put the press release out earlier this week. We purchased a platform that helps people achieve their goals as they define them, which was really important for me because my goals are going to be very different from my neighbor's goals. And I want them to define what their path is. And so we're going to do some development on this platform to where a mother can come in, define what she's trying to achieve. Is it a promotion? Is it get back into the workforce? Is it pivot to learning new skills? And then it will serve up the guidance and then also the community of support to help get her there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And we'll be beta launching in September.
Okay. So I know it hasn't been super long, but in all the things that we went through in the last 3 years, I know it feels like you've been in that business now for about 10 years, right? So tell us a little bit about what you've learned over time. Like, teach us some of the things that took you some hard times to learn, and teach us so we don't have to go through it.
Yeah. So here's what I learned. I learned that I apparently can be a big baby, and that when things get uncomfortable, I was like, gosh, you know what? This really doesn't feel good. I'm worried about my personal income. I might just peace out and go back to the really comfortable corporate world or something else. And so I had to learn to just sit in being uncomfortable. And for me, it's prayer and my faith. Somebody else may lean on some other tool that they have or some other spiritual guidance. But for me, it was I needed to just really kind of sit in being uncomfortable and write it out. And as long as I felt like I was making some sort of progress, even if it was small, then I was going to stay in it. And so I had to put a line in the sand of quit dithering back and forth about what you want to do, put your line in the sand, stick to it, and then follow through. And once I said, okay, I'm in, come what may, if COVID keeps going, because we had so many ups and downs, and there's still some more right around the corner with inflation and possible recession and all that. And so it's just being comfortable with being uncomfortable and then staying connected to whatever is important to you, family, friends, spiritual life, physical exercise, whatever it is that keeps you sane and balanced and focused.
No, I think that's great advice. So tell me, what's your vision for the company? What are you in 10 years from now, 20 years? Like what do you see? What do you see?
In 8 years, 2030, we have a goal that we put in place that we want to have a hand in putting 1 million women into the workforce. And so doing that by career guidance, by placing them in flexible jobs, by helping them get promoted so that they can stay into the workforce and meet their financial needs for their families. That's our goal. So it's a big one. Yeah. But we're just going to keep working towards it. I mean, the worst thing that happens, right, is that we miss it by a couple hundred, we miss it by a couple thousand, but it's still a star for us to shoot for. And you got to have these big, hairy goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have just a couple more questions. What do you see now as some of the biggest challenges that you are having in this current moment?
The biggest challenge, and some of it could be because I'm female, some of it could just be Birmingham is smaller, but fundraising was really difficult. So to figure out how I was going to raise money when the time came, and we'll be raising money soon in about Q4. That's a tough one, right? Like it's really tough to find the right people to speak to and the information that you need to share to make them feel educated about putting that in. And so that's really like what keeps me up at night. Am I going to be able to kind of be able to stay in Birmingham and find the funding because I'd like to grow in Birmingham, or do we need to go to Atlanta and outside to find some funding? But that's our next big hurdle to climb.
So I want to ask you this. What has been your strategy to let people know there is a company out there like yours that's taking in consideration women that are raising kids, women that need a little flexibility in the workplace, and the value they actually bring that actually demands some flexibility because of the value that they bring to the workplace?
I know enough about marketing to dabble in it and to kind of get a real high level roadmap or high level idea. The biggest difference for us is finding somebody who really understood marketing and understood lead gen, how to massage the machines of the world and the email tools to get enough leads coming in the door so we could say, hey, we've got these amazing women, Mr. Business Owner. Are you interested? And so once we get our message out there, it seems to resonate. People seem to identify with who that mother is and think, yeah, she'd be an asset. But it's really having to understand how to do B2B marketing has been by far the most difficult thing for me to learn. And the only way I am working towards solving it, not solved, is by hiring the right people and smart people.
So let me ask you this last question. How can people, this goes out to business owners, how can business owners connect with you? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
How can they utilize your service?
We work really well with businesses that are typically 250 employees and under, forward-thinking companies that are willing to accommodate flexibility in hours, location, or culture. They typically need somebody who is skilled in project management, financial services, marketing, administrative skills. Any businesses that have those needs, we've got about 3 to 5 candidates that we can hand you in under a week to help you get somebody in place quick. We work on a purely contingency basis, so it's completely free until we find the hire of your dreams. And you can find us on boulosolutions.com, BOULO solutions.com, or emailing me at Delphine@boulosolutions.com.
Thank you so much for taking this time, and your company seems like a great company, and that's the story of how you got there. That's awesome. And
well, I appreciate it. You made this an easy conversation, which is always so good.
thank you.